Hey guys, how's it going? Today we have several fun things to work on out here in the Hartley. It is an overcast gray day, snow floor, perfect day to be working with plants. So we're going to be grooming everything in here, fertilizing. I'll talk through all of that. I also want to share kind of the learning curve that it has been keeping plants in here. This is our first winter with plants in here. With the heating system, we have had to add an extra floor heater, and we didn't realize that until, it got really cold. It's just, we're learning here, and the plants, thankfully, most of them are sticking it out with us. I honestly feel like maybe I should have moved the plants into the studio. I had a thermometer out here and really monitored everything before I had plants. Anyway, we'll talk through that, but I've got a tiny bit left in this container and then a nice full fresh one right here. This is what I use to fertilize all of the houseplants in here. I do have 1 cactus, 3 aloe, and a sedum in here, which I could use the cactus food for that. But since there's so few in here, I just hit them with the indoor, and they seem to do just fine with that. So I'm gonna get this going. There's a little bit of water left at the bottom of the can from the last time I watered, but what I like to do typically is pour my fertilizer in first, and then the water, and then it kind of churns and mixes itself. So we do a half a cap per quart of water. There are 4 quarts in a gallon. There are 2 gallons worth of water in this when it's full. So if we do half a cap per quart, which is 2 teaspoons, then that means we do 2 caps per gallon, which means we do 4 caps per 2 gallons. The nice thing about this fertilizer is you really can't screw it up. So, it's a slow feed organic, so it doesn't burn things, and that's why I like it so much. Gonna give it a really good shake. Kind of has a minty-ish smell. Okay, so what's left in our last, that was like 1 teaspoon worth. 1, 2, 3, 4. There it goes, churning away. So the temperature in here, like I said, has been a little bit erratic. The mini split isn't keeping up quite as much as you'd hope that it would keep up with this whole thing, but it's cold outside. It's getting into almost the single digits at this point, and we're dealing with a bunch of glass. We knew it would be a learning curve figuring out what we needed in here, so we did get this heater right here. It's an oil-filled electric heater. Does that make sense? I have no experience with these types. It's like a radiant heater, and it just puts off just the nicest amount of low, gentle heat. It doesn't blow everywhere like the little floor heaters do. It doesn't make a whole bunch of noise either. Anyway, we went and picked this at Polonus. I don't know. You can feel the heat right here, and it just kind of fills this area on this side since the mini split is over there. It gives a little bit more heat off here. I have a little floor heater in here, which I don't run all the time, but I just ran it because my feet were cold when I was sitting here. So I'll turn that off before we leave. And like right now, I can have my coat off, but I need to have a vest in here. Like I need to be layered a little bit, and my fingers and toes are cold. So that a lot of tropicals and things aren't gonna like that sort of temperature, which it's just something to note. It might not be a place where I can keep super heat loving plants in the wintertime. It might be a place where I do more cold tolerant stuff. A lot of my herbs, they're doing great in here. My dill, my basil, I'll show you in a minute. The geraniums are doing great. So it's just something where, I may have some of them in the studio where it's more like interior temperatures for the winter. And we have the hardier stuff out here. I did lose a couple of begonias in the process of learning that the heat wasn't keeping up on this side. So now that we have the heater over here, I do have another begonia and it's doing fine. And I'm thankful it wasn't some of the more hard to get, more sought after, expensive plants like the pink princess. That would have been sad. But let me give you just a little bit of a look. I'm not going to name every single one of these plants, but every one of them is going to get some fertilizer water today. In this mix of house plants, we do have 1 rosemary and 1 oregano. So a couple of the herbs over here, I need to groom on the oregano a little bit, cut it back. It's got some kind of burned ends there. Other than that, we've just got a bunch of beautiful stuff. The fern that I usually kill these ferns, it's put on a ton of new growth in the center. So I'm gonna clip off some of this old ratty stuff on the edges and leave all this beautiful stuff. We've got ficus and strawberry begonia, ferns. This one, what is this? A red, lucky red, Chinese evergreen. We have a marble syngonium right here. There's the pink princess. It's doing really well. It's actually pushed a couple new leaves. The bromeliad, alocasia, there's the Pandora ficus. That's another one Little Prince sent out, a kind of an unusual one. We've got a Hoya right here. There's the begonia. So this one's doing great. It's looking really good. I'm thankful for that. We do have some peperomia. This right here is Pink Lady Calesia. And then we've got the Rex begonia vine. It's doing great. It's put on so much growth. We've got a Pegasus begonia. We've had these for several seasons at this point. They lived in a window box for a while, and then I pulled them out and they lived in containers in the greenhouse last winter. I need to groom it, that sort of business, but it's doing well. Over here we have a Tradescantia, looking amazing. I think it's like super colorful and super saturated because it gets a ton of light right here, and it's been cold in here, like sitting right here, it's pretty chilly. We've got the amaryllis that Garner sent out recently. I can see growth in there, but they haven't put on a lot of active growth yet. Then we've got a dill, poor dill plant, it's starting to wilt. This is my biggest baby in the entire greenhouse. It has to have water every single day, but it's looking so pretty and it smells amazing. We've also got mint here. Spearmint, it smells so good. Basil looks pretty good. I need to cut off the blooms there. We've got wire vine, more Tradescantia. There's a pineapple plant that looks pretty crummy. I think that this might have happened when it was cold. I don't know. There's a cactus here that I've had for at least, I don't know, 13, 14 years. And then a Chef Lara looking amazing, putting on new growth all over the top. And then on this table we have grape ivy, which is putting on new growth since we repotted it. We've got some aloe, we've got pink geraniums that came out of the chicken coop window box, looking pretty with the blooms, but I do need to groom them. Got some blooms falling off. One of the begonias that looks pretty crummy, still has some leaves, still looking okay, but not, not the best. And then I had a big begonia in here that I cut it back, so we'll see what happens. I'm gonna go ahead and fertilize it today, we'll see. We've got some ferns here, and there's a thyme plant right there. And then on this end, we don't have as much going on, but I've got an ivy we recently brought in here. Beautiful, look at this. Oh, that makes me so happy to see. That's another one from the chicken coop window box right there. Has put on growth and blooms. Here's our fern. What's the variety name? Crocodile fern. Then we've got a philodendron down here, which was all cuttings. It was a great big plant that was unruly, and so I cut all the leaves off and stuck them in the soil, and it's pushing new leaves. It's awesome. The tops don't look that great because these are the old leaves, but I'm leaving them there just so that they can gather up some sunshine and create some energy here, so that they create more new growth. And then we've got a fig. So that's what we've got in the way of houseplants in here at the moment. And I'll be monitoring the temperature in here pretty closely because like right now it's 18 degrees outside. And I want to make sure that it keeps up enough not to freeze in here or to get even close to freezing. If we can keep it above 40, preferably around 50 in here, that would be amazing. I just don't know how hard it's going to be to do that. So it might be a situation where I end up moving a bunch of stuff. So that is possible. I'm gearing myself up for it mentally. But in the meantime, let's get everything fertilized today. it all done, and I'm honestly pretty happy with how things look. A couple of them look a little puny because of the cold, because of how cold it got in here, but I did turn the temperature of the thermostat up by 2 degrees, and I'm noticing a very definite change. I'm starting to feel comfortable myself. Maybe it's because I was moving around more too, but it definitely feels more comfortable in here. So it's just gonna have to be trying to find that line between what's sustainable. Like, I don't want to heat this thing to tropical level heat, because I think that that would take an enormous amount. Well, I mean, we'd have to just kick the heat up so high in here, and I don't really want to use it like that. So yeah, like I said, we might move some stuff around, who knows. I did decide to leave the brand new plants in here since it's warming up in here, and I don't really want to truck them over to the studio when it's 18 degrees outside. We'll wait until it warms up a little bit to do that. So things have been fertilized, they've been groomed. The most severe groom job I did was on the pineapple. I took away pretty much all the leaves that had damage on them, hoping that the plant will send energy into all this brand new growth at the base. Should be all right. Here's all of the new babies right here. Oh, I forgot to do this one. I forgot to groom it. Hang on, let's get that done. Oh, geez, that's so pretty. Doesn't that just look like spring? And you can see all the tattery growth has a lighter color too. I'm just gonna pop all that off. Accidentally popped one out. I'm gonna replant it quick. Whoops. Should be okay. That looks pretty good. All of the plants on these shelves here looked pretty darn good. The Hoya, a little bit stressed, but I think it just got too cold. I think it'll be okay. Did a pretty major groom job on the begonia. Usually when you have those cold temperatures, they start to get more kind of translucent, you know, like you can kind of see it in this leaf versus like one of these more fresh leaves at the top. But overall pretty good. There's a bunch of new growth at the bottom in the interior. I didn't have to do any grooming on these plants. That was really nice. Just gave them a good deep water with the fertilizer in it. And the happiest thing is that I didn't find any bugs. 0 bugs, no mites, no aphids, no mealybugs, nothing. And when you have a time where you go through all your plants and you don't find that, that's a pretty good day. I've been pretty careful about everything that we put in here, even the brand new plants that I get. And I recommend to like check them at any garden center, wherever you're getting them, double check that they don't have bugs before you bring them in, because sometimes bugs happen and they don't catch it before they leave, you know, leave their doors. And you don't want to introduce that kind of thing into your space, because some of them, especially spider mites, are incredibly hard to eradicate. Anyway, that is it for today's projects. I just thought it would be fun to be out here for part of the day working and just kind of enjoying the process. You know, during the summer, we're just so busy, flying busy, that I just come in here, take care of things really quick and, you know, go on to the next project. But this time of year, we really get to enjoy the space and go slow and really give attention to everything, which is so, so nice. Kind of a regrouping time. But you know, these plants, a lot of these, I don't want to say most of them, but a lot of them were in here for the summer months and they flourished. I did have to have the south shades pulled, just the south ones, because that's where the sun kind of was in the sky. So I had those pulled all summer, so it shaded a good portion of the interior here. But the plants, like this structure was made for growing plants in the spring, summer, fall. I mean, everything just boomed with growth and just looked so healthy. And now we're getting into that time where we're just gonna have to kind of play it by ear. So I'll keep you posted on all of that, and we will link both Little Prince and Baker Creek down below if you're interested in looking at any of the things that I unboxed today. Other than that, I hope you guys are having a great day, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.